Welcome to CAP's webinar on the Americans with Disabilities Act. My name is Whitney Code, and with me today is Kellen Ashford.
Hello, everybody.
The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, often referred to as the ADA, and the ADA Amendments Act of 2008, were passed to prohibit discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. These laws give civil rights protections to individuals with disabilities similar to those provided based on race, color, sex, national origin, age, and religion, and also ensure that people with disabilities are afforded equal rights and opportunities.
The ADA focuses on equal rights for individuals with disabilities, including in employment. In accordance with the ADA, job discrimination against individuals with disabilities is illegal if practiced by private employers, state and local governments, employment agencies, labor organizations, and labor management committees. The ADA makes it unlawful to discriminate in all employment practices such as recruitment, pay, hiring, firing, promotion, job assignments, training, leave, layoff, benefits, and all other employment-related activities. While the ADA applies to the previously mentioned entities, the vast majority of federal employees are covered under the Rehabilitation Act, which offers similar protections.
It is important to know that the ADA does not interfere with an employer's right to hire the best qualified applicant or from holding employees with disabilities to performance standards. The ADA simply prohibits employers from discriminating against a qualified applicant or employee because of a disability. However, employers must generally accommodate employees with disabilities by providing effective tools to help them perform essential job functions. These tools are called reasonable accommodations.
According to the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, a reasonable accommodation is any change or adjustment to a job or work environment that permits a qualified applicant or employee with a disability to participate in the job application process, to perform the essential functions of a job, or to enjoy the benefits and privileges of employment equal to those enjoyed by employees without disabilities. Reasonable accommodations are critical to CAP's mission as we seek to provide assistive technology and accommodations to support individuals with disabilities and wounded, ill, and injured service members throughout the federal government in accessing information and communication technology. For example, reasonable accommodations may include acquiring or modifying equipment or devices, job restructuring, part-time or modified work schedules, reassignment to a vacant position, adjusting or modifying examinations, training materials, or policies, providing readers and sign language interpreters, and making the workplace readily accessible to and usable by people with disabilities. It is a violation of the ADA to fail to provide reasonable accommodations for known physical or mental limitations of a qualified individual with a disability, unless to do so would impose an undue hardship on the operation of the organization. Undue hardship means that the accommodation would require significant difficulty or expense.
The implementation of the ADA in 1990 was a tremendous step forward for civil rights, and it has been used to enforce equality for individuals with disabilities ever since. In 2006, for example, a civil action suit was settled with the Board of Supervisors in Bern Township, Pennsylvania, when reasonable accommodation requests were denied to employees and job applicants with disabilities. And in 2015, the City of Baltimore was required to provide compensation for a practice of discrimination which required job applicants to submit to a medical examination and answer disability-related inquiries before making conditional offers of employment, and for refusing to hire someone because of a disability.
In 2015, 17.5% of individuals with a disability were employed. In contrast, the employment population ratio for those without a disability was 65%. In the same year, the unemployment rate for individuals with a disability fell to 10.7%. However, the rate for those without a disability declined to 5.1%. This is according to the Current Population Survey, a source for comprehensive monthly labor force statistics sponsored jointly by the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So while progress has been made, there is still work to be done.
Majority of federal employees are covered by the Rehabilitation Act. Both the Rehabilitation Act and the ADA are civil rights laws that protect individuals with disabilities from discrimination. Many of the principles and objectives shared by the laws are the same. They are both based on the assumption that individuals with disabilities can work and that the integration of individuals with disabilities into mainstream society is fundamental. Separate settings or programs are not acceptable unless necessary to ensure equal benefit. We've discussed how the ADA and Rehabilitation Act are similar. However, where they differ is in who is covered by each law. The ADA applies to private employers, state and local governments, employment agencies, labor unions, Congress, and other entities of the legislative branch of the federal government, while the executive branch is covered under the Rehabilitation Act. This includes programs run by federal agencies, programs that receive federal financial assistance in federal employment, and the employment practices of federal contractors.
CAP is a resource that helps federal agencies meet their legal obligation to provide reasonable accommodations. We remove barriers to employment and advancement by providing equal access to information and communication technology. Services and support available through CAP are offered at no cost to CAP's 69 federal partner agencies.
Hopefully this information clarifies how the ADA, Rehabilitation Act, and CAP work to make sure that individuals with disabilities have equal access and rights in the workplace. Before we wrap up, we would like to take a little time to address some frequently asked questions regarding this topic. The first question is, what is the ADA Amendments Act?
After the ADA was originally passed in 1990, cases started being filed and ending up in courts. Some were appealed all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Rulings by the Supreme Court, as well as the lower courts, began to narrow the definition of disability. Whether a person had a disability in order to sue became the focus of most disputes under the ADA. However, the focus of the ADA was supposed to be on access and accommodation, not on whether the person really had a disability. Congress did not foresee how the courts would narrowly interpret the law and ultimately change the definition. So, in 2008, the Americans with Disabilities Act Amendments Act was signed into law and became effective on January 1st, 2009, and essentially overturned those Supreme Court cases that narrowed the definition of disability. Congress made clear that the definition must be construed in favor of a broad coverage of individuals with disabilities. So the Amendments Act takes the ADA back to what Congress intended it to be when it was first written and passed in 1990. So, how can someone find more information on the ADA or Rehabilitation Act?
For more information about the ADA, visit www.ada.gov. The anniversary of the signing of the ADA is on July 26th. For more information on the ADA anniversary celebration, visit www.adaanniversary.org. For information on the Rehabilitation Act, you can visit www.disability.gov. We have also included a more comprehensive list of resources that provide information about the ADA, as well as informal guidance to understanding and complying with the ADA in the description of this webinar.
And please connect with us by visiting www.cap.mil. You can also follow us on Twitter through the handle @DODCAP. We are on Facebook at www.facebook.com/DODCAP. And view our other webinars or technology demonstration videos on the CAP YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/TheDODCAP.
Thanks for watching CAP's webinar on the Americans with Disabilities Act.